أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قالوا وأقبلوا عليهم ماذا تفقدون قالوا نفقد صواع الملك ولمن جاء به حمل بعير وأنا به زعيم قالوا تالله لقد علمتم ما جئنا لنفسد في الأرض وما كنا سارقين قالوا فما جزاؤه إن كنتم كاذبين قالوا جزاؤه من وجد في رحله فهو جزاؤه كذلك نجزي الظالمين فبدأ بأوعيتهم قبل وعاء أخيه ثم استخرجها من وعاء أخيه كذلك كدنا ليوسف ما كان ليأخذ أخاه في دين الملك إلا أن يشاء الله نرفع درجات من نشاء وفوق كل ذي علم عليم قالوا إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل فأسرها يوسف في نفسه ولم يبدها لهم قال أنتم شر مكانا والله أعلم بما تصفون قالوا يا أيها العزيز إن له أبا شيخا كبيرا فخذ أحدنا مكانه إنا نراك من المحسنين قال معاذ الله أن نأخذ إلا من وجدنا متاعنا عنده إنا إذا لظالمون. Continuing the Tafseer of Surah Yusuf, starting from ayah number 71 actually, not 72. So in the last lesson we heard how Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam had asked his brothers to bring his blood brother Binyamin to Yusuf so that he could be given his share of the food that he was distributing, Yusuf alayhi salam was distributing. And when he came, Yusuf alayhi salam took him to the side and instructed him that I'm going to make a plan to try to keep you with me. And the plan was basically that he's going to put a cup, his own royal cup, into the food of where the saddle pack of Binyamin, and basically the accusation is going to be made that you stole it, and then using that accusation he's going to keep Binyamin behind. So this is exactly what happened. The brothers came, they were given their share of food, the cup was placed in the bags of Binyamin, and then a person came from the palace and shouted at them that you've stolen something. And this is where we start from now. قالوا وأقبلوا عليهم ماذا تفقدون. They said, while turning back towards them, but while turning their attention to them, ماذا تفقدون, what are you losing? What is it that you're saying that has been stolen? What have you lost? So they said, قالوا نفقد سواع الملك. We are losing, or we are missing the suwa' of the king. Suwa' refers to a measuring cup which the king was using, and that can also be used, we heard in last week's lesson that it was described as siqaya. Siqaya means something from which somebody drinks. And here the word suwa' is being used. Suwa' is referring to a measuring cup. So the same cup was used by Yusuf alayhi salam for drinking and day-to-day activities, and it was also used for measuring the grain that was distributed to the people. So they said that نفقد سواع الملك, we are missing this cup of the king, وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ, and whoever brings it, whoever finds it, he is going to get a camel's load of goods, meaning the reward for the person who brings back this cup, he is going to get a whole camel's load of food, of crop, of grain, whatever the reward was. وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ, and the person who makes this announcement, he says, I am taking responsibility for this. I'm going to make sure that I bring this cup back to the king because I want that reward. قالوا تالله لقد علمتم ما جئنا لنفسد في الأرض وما كنا سارقين. They turned round and they said to this person, Tallahi. Tallahi, it is an oath, and you probably use the word Wallahi in Arabic. Wallahi means I swear by Allah, but also there are other ways of saying I swear by Allah. Wallahi, this is the most common one. Billahi with a ba, and Tallahi with a ta. These are the three ways that the oath is used. If you're from African countries, actually, when they African Nigerians especially, they want to emphasize an oath, they use all three in one sentence. Wallahi billahi tallahi. Wallahi billahi tallahi. I don't know if you've heard that before, but this is very common amongst them. So tallahi is actually used specifically when you are expressing astonishment at something. Astonishment. So obviously these brothers, they think that we've not stolen anything, so how could you make an accusation against us? So they said, Tallahi, we swear by Allah, laqad alimtum, indeed you knew. And there's so much emphasis in this sentence. Firstly, the oath, lam is also for emphasis, qad is also for emphasis. So indeed, for sure. Alimtum, and also this is past tense. When past tense is used, it means something that already occurred, meaning for sure it's occurred. And that is why whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to events that will take place on the Day of Judgment, instead of using future tense, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the most part, He uses past tense. Why? To emphasize that even though the Day of Judgment is going to happen in the future, but it is so sure and it's so certain to happen, it's as if it's already happened. So that's why the past tense is used. So here again, the past tense is being used by the brothers. لَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمْ, most certainly you knew. You knew instead of you know this or you are aware of this, meaning you were aware of this, for sure you're aware of this. مَا جِئْنَا لِنُفْسِدَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, we didn't come here to cause corruption on the earth. We didn't come here to cause trouble. We came for a simple reason. We came to collect our grain and just go back home again. And you've seen that we haven't caused any trouble whatsoever. We've done what we came for and we were just leaving without any trouble. وَمَا كُنَّا سَارِقِينَ, and for sure we have not stolen anything. We were not thieves. قَالُوا فَمَا جَزَاؤُهُ إِن كُنْتُمْ كَاذِبِينَ. Okay, so now the response is this from the people of Yusuf alayhi salam, that what is the punishment going to be for that person who stole if you are liars? So now in the area where Yaqub alayhi salam and his sons used to live, the law was that if a person was caught stealing, then the person who's caught stealing will become the slave of the victim of the theft. So whoever he stole from, he will become a slave of the victim that he stole from. Okay, so the thief will become the slave of the person that he stole from. So the question was asked for the brothers that what should be the punishment if you are lying? And of course, they responded according to their knowledge of the Sharia, of the law that they were familiar with. They responded, قَالُوا جَزَاؤُهُ مَنْ وُجِدَ فِي رَحْلِهِ فَهُوَ جَزَاؤُهُ. The punishment should be that whoever the goods found in his stuff, in his baggage, then he himself will become the punishment. Meaning he will become the slave and he will be taken into custody, he will be taken into slavery because he was the slave. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ, and this is how we punish the wrongdoers. These are the brothers speaking and responding back to the people of Yusuf alayhi salam. So now, what did they do? They've made the accusation against the brothers. Now they start searching. They start searching the goods and the packages and the backpacks and the saddles of the brothers. And instead of starting at the saddle of Binyamin, they started with the other brothers first, so that there would be no suspicion on their part that the cup had been planted. فَبَدَأَ بِأَوْعِيَتِهِمْ قَبْلَ وِعَاءِ أَخِيهِ. So they started with the goods of the other brothers before the goods of his brother. So they started looking in the bags and in the saddle packs of the other brothers before they looked in the pack of his own brother, meaning in the back of Binyamin. كَذَلِكَ كِدْنَا لِيُوسُف. This was a plan that we gave to Yusuf alayhi salam, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sanctioned this. So a person might still have that question, right? We discussed that last week, that how is it that Yusuf alayhi salam, he is tricking the brothers and he is putting a false accusation against Binyamin, and then he is taking him into custody. All this seems kind of unethical, and especially because we mentioned that Yaqub alayhi salam is already suffering because of the loss of Yusuf alayhi salam. So how can he do that? So we discussed that last week, but also here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in himself, He is saying that this plan was sanctioned by himself, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, not Yusuf alayhi salam, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He allowed this plan to take place and He sanctioned it, He authorized it, He allowed it to happen. كَذَلِكَ كِدْنَا لِيُوسُف مَا كَانَ لِيَأْخُذَ أَخَاهُ فِي دِينِ الْمَلِكِ إِلَّا إِن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. He was not capable of taking his brother into custody in the religion or in the law of the king, meaning the king where he was in Egypt. He could not have taken Binyamin into custody, but because the brothers had said, this is our law, this is the way that we do things back home, Yusuf alayhi salam said, okay, then this is how we'll do it. This is how we'll do it. Otherwise, the law of Egypt, in the law of where Yusuf alayhi salam was, they were not allowed to do that. They had a different law. Okay, so incidentally, there is a riwayah that something like this took place in the childhood of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam was being looked after by one of his aunts, by the sister of his father. And when the time came for her to give Yusuf alayhi salam back, she could not part with him because she really loved him. So she planted something on Yusuf alayhi salam and then accused him of stealing, and then the thing was found on Yusuf alayhi salam, and then Yusuf alayhi salam, because of the law, he was taken into custody and went back to his aunt. So this riwayah also found in the books of Tafseer. So maybe he remembered that and he wanted to use the same method against his aunts. So in any case, this happened to Yusuf alayhi salam in the past. So مَا كَانَ لِيَأْخُذَ أَخَاهُ فِي دِينِ الْمَلِكِ إِلَّا إِن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. It was not appropriate for him, or he was not allowed to take his brother according to the religion of the king, except if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed it to happen. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed it another way, and we just mentioned how it was that Binyamin was taken into custody. Indeed, we elevate the statuses of whomever we want. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing that it seems as if, again, for the human mind, for the person who he does not have the wisdom and the insight to the planning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it would seem that dhulm and oppression is taking place. Dhulm and oppression is taking place. Dhulm in the sense that Binyamin is being removed from his father, the second son is being removed from his father, and oppression in the sense that a false accusation is being made against the brothers. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that this was not, seemingly it seems that way, but in fact it was a means to elevate their status. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is planning something big and something greater than what meets the eye. And this is something that we should always keep in mind, that sometimes we go through difficulties in our life and hardships in our life, and a person doesn't think that there could be any khair in what is happening to me right now. A person never thinks that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always has some kind of a plan. If a person is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing in terms of worship and staying away from ma'asi, and then he is tested in this way, then for sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a better plan for him, and he doesn't realize it. For example, a person may lose a job and he thinks, why did this happen to me? You know, I was the best worker, I used to go in on time and everything, but he loses the job. For months maybe he's unemployed, he's having difficulty making ends meet, he doesn't know how to pay the bills, but after that, after months of hardship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pulls him through this difficult stage, and he gets a better job than he had before, paying much, much more. So these things happen. A person loses his wife to death, or he loses a child to death, and he doesn't realize what was the wisdom behind it, and it seems like his whole world has collapsed around him. But only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, and he replaces someone or a better wife or a better child that becomes, you know, the light of the eye in the eye of the parents. And there are many incidents amongst the lives of the Sahaba where they lost a child and then they were patient, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replaced them with a child who was much pious and who went on to become a great Sahabi or a Tabi and so on. So these things happen. So here Allah is saying, نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَنْ نَشَاءُ. We elevate the statuses of whom He wants. And seemingly, it seems it's still a lot of difficulties going on in the whole family, and a lot of turmoil is going on, but realistically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is planning something, and this is what the next verse says, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above every knowledgeable person, there is Alim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is, the word Alim, it refers to any pattern, Samir, Basir, Alim. It means the person who has that quality, and it's constant and consistent without any break. So when a person, he listens, he is Samir, he is listening. So that means that he can hear the people around him only. But Samir means one who can hear everything at all times. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is Samir. A human being is Samir, Allah is Samir. Basir, a human being is Basir, he sees, he cannot see beyond the wall. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is Basir. He sees everything at all times. And Alim is also like this. An Alim is a person who knows, but sometimes he forgets his knowledge. Sometimes he knows, sometimes he doesn't know. But Alim means one who constantly and continuously, without any break, knows everything. So over every knowledgeable person is Alim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He knows more than us, He has more wisdom than us, and His planning is more complete than us. So we should never feel that we are going through a difficult time and Allah is torturing me. Allah has a plan, and we should always keep our trust in Him. قالوا إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل. So they said, after this whole conversation took place, they said to themselves, discussing amongst themselves, إن يسرق, if Binyamin stole, then indeed his brother before him, he must have also stolen. And this is a very strange connection that they're making. That if he's a thief, then he must be a thief too. Absolutely no connection whatsoever. Usually when there's a condition, you know, the condition, when you put a shart, the jaza has something connected to it. For example, if I say to a student, if you work hard, you'll pass the exam. So working, it is connected with passing the exam. But one person stealing, there is no connection between the person and somebody far away who has nothing to do with this stealing, that he would also be a thief. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But this is the conclusion they came up with, that if he stole, then his brother must have stolen before too. And remember what I mentioned before, that Binyamin and Yusuf were from one mother. The mother's name was Rahil. And the other brothers were from other different mothers. Okay, but Yusuf and Binyamin, they were blood brothers from one mother, and the father was Yaqub alayhi salam. So أخُ لَهُ مِن قَبْلِ refers to Yusuf alayhi salam. فَأَصَرَّهَا يُوسُفُ فِي نَفْسِهِ وَلَمْ يُبْدِهَا لَهُمْ. Yusuf alayhi salam, he hid this in his heart and he did not expose it to them. Okay, so they are accusing him of stealing, but he swallows it. And he could have, at that moment, he could have just opened everything up and said, okay, you are the ones that put me in a well. You stole me from my father and you took me away from my whole youth that I should have been, and you made me into a slave. You stole everything from me and you're accusing me of being a thief. So he hid it and he did not say anything to them. But what he did say was, قَالَ أَنْتُمْ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا. You are the worst of your position. وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا تَصِفُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He is aware of what you're saying. Tasifun, it means usually the real meaning of tasifun, wasafa yasifu, it means to describe something. But here it refers to people saying something. وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُ أَلْسِنَتُكُمُ الْكَذِبَ. The word tasifu is used in another place in the Quran to say, for saying something. So Wallahu a'lamu bima tasifun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has more knowledge of what you're saying. Meaning that, okay, I'm not going to say anything, but Allah has more knowledge, and one day this will be exposed. So now they start pleading with Yusuf alayhi salam. So obviously what happened was, the person came and then took them into custody and brought all of them in front of Yusuf alayhi salam, and now they're talking to Yusuf and they are saying this. قالوا يا أيها العزيز إن له أبا شيخا كبيرا. O Aziz, O Almighty One, meaning referring to his position, indeed he has a father who is Shaykh Kabir. And Kabir can have two connotations. Either it means that he has a big status in society. Alright, so what that means is, he has a big status, father, he has a big status in society. So, first of all, you should not try to embarrass him because of that position in society by accusing his son of being a thief, number one. Number two, if you continue with what you're doing, then there could be consequences for you, because we have also a position in our society. So this is one meaning of Shaykh Kabir. And another meaning, which is more appropriate, is that he is old. Inna lahu aban shaykhan kabiran, meaning he has an old father who is close to death. He would be upset at the loss of his son. It could even kill him. So, from this perspective, Shaykh Kabir means a person of old age. Inna lahu aban shaykhan kabiran fakhudh ahadana makana. Take one of us in his place. Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. Indeed, we regard you as a person who does favors. So instead of him, take any of one of us, because he loves him very much. Just like Yusuf alayhi salam, he used to love him very much because they were blood brothers. So instead of him, take us, so that his loss or his sense of loss would not be as bad as if Binyamin had gone. So what was the response? قال معاذ الله أن نأخذ إلا من وجدنا متاعنا عنده. Allah's refuge. We ask Allah's refuge from taking that, except that person whom we found our stuff with, whom we found our goods with. Meaning, that's the law. You were the ones who told us what the law is, according to your understanding, that the person who is caught stealing, he becomes the slave. So we cannot take anyone else. We cannot take anyone else. We have to take the one who stole. So we're not going to take anyone else. Inna idhal ladhalimun. If we do that, then most certainly we're going to be oppressors. Why should we take the person who didn't steal instead of the person who stole? That would be dhulm. So we're not going to do dhulm. And they didn't. Yusuf alayhi salam didn't listen to any of their excuses, and he basically sent them on their way. So then after that, what happened, when they go back to the father, and the conversation that they had before doing that, that will be inshallah discussed next week. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to understand and practice what has been said and heard.